another book that was also really interesting prior to Be the Line was The Art of Negotiation, because I think
Yeah,
previously, you were talking about,
that's what.
yeah, that's the one. I'm going to get, when I finish reading Be the Line, I'll get that one as well.
Ah,
But
you're gonna get onto it. Yeah, nice.
yeah. I love the whole sales, marketing, and everything as well. So, how did you get started in negotiations? By the way, what was the origin story behind the negotiation book?
The pivotal moment again was once I got into university and I managed to make that part happen. I then did the 2 years of the psychology degree.
Mm,
I went into that thinking I'd become a clinical psychologist, and
yeah.
that was going to be my calling. But after that, I realized that there was something more in this negotiation piece, and that it became. I found that I was solving problems for friends who had got themselves into phone contracts for 2 years, and
Mm,
the the kind of cancellation fee was £1,000 or something like this, and
yeah.
they'd be coming more and more to me. I became the go-to person for actually having these calls and negotiating for different people in tenancy agreements and different situations. And so I was doing this more and more for friends. And then this job came up at a corporate barter firm, and it just spoke to me in a way that I was like, how cool would it be? In a corporate barter firm, you're basically negotiating every single day.
Mm,
It's millions and millions of dollars in terms of deals.
mm,
And you're learning on the ground in terms of, obviously there's some really awesome people there that are
yeah.
amazing negotiators. And I got lucky that I went in at the bottom, but I
Mm,
was charged with building a department with the head of online. So
yeah.
we were starting a new department, and I get to go into all of those meetings with the most senior meetings that would probably take me a decade usually
Mm,
to get in front of.
yeah.
And I skipped that decade and went straight into all those meetings as an assistant. And I was there able to start learning how negotiations happen,
Yeah.
actually how it goes down, how you influence, how you can start becoming a master of persuasion, and the things you need to think about so that then you can become a better negotiator. Because it's actually, if you're a better negotiator, you actually help not only the negotiation and you actually win more, but
Mm,
it's actually you help the other person, because they sometimes think they know how to negotiate and they only know one play of the book. And
yeah.
so after after it accelerated pretty quickly, and I then ended up being able to take control of my own book of business, and
Mm,
the department grew very, very fast, and
yeah.
started negotiating every single day, 8, 9, 10 deals a day,
Yeah.
on the phones, in person, on email, like all the different types of negotiations you could do. I was
Mm,
doing them day in, day out for 7, 8 years.
yeah.
And so got to the place where I put two and two together. I'm like, because I'd almost translated what I loved doing for friends and helping them out to become
Yeah.
my day job.
Yeah.
And then it was just game on negotiation for that length of time. And
Yeah.
then the book came out of a friend who, one of my best friends, he basically in his spare time started developing apps. He had a
Mm,
really, really good job as an engineer. But in his
okay.
spare time, he was developing apps. And this is back in like 2009.
Yeah.
And suddenly he developed a few games, and they took off and they blew up. And so he quit the engineering job, which was
Yeah.
again like unheard of.
Yeah.
Why would you quit this amazing job? And it's like
Yeah.
really hard to get, and it's a good job. And he's been traveling the world since. So it's like the last years he hasn't had a normal
Wow.
corporate job, and
Mm,
that inspired me when we were talking to
mm,
think about how I could put my skills into the world as well. And
mm.
the thing that was most prominent in my mind was, well, people need help in everyday negotiations. There's so many
Yeah.
opportunities to
Mm,
negotiate in
mm.
daily life that we don't ever sort of. And I'd see people in shops, I'd see people, friends, or I'd go and even working in negotiation, you'd meet up with different people from different businesses and colleagues, and they tell you a story and they'd be like, yeah, they just wouldn't give me a refund, or
Mm.
yeah, they wouldn't budge on price. And you're like sat there like, no, this is
There
this
was
is so
there's such a big
like,
opportunity there that you can spot,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So that's where the art of negotiation came from. So I put it down in a book, but I tell you, like, I don't know if you've written books, but if writing your first book it's a hard task, and
Yeah.
it took me 3.5 years to get to the end of it.
Wow.
Which in that book my main goal was just get to the end of writing this book. Please just do this thing. Right. Say
Yeah.
you're going to write a book and write it and finish it. And
Yeah.
I did that. And that was my goal. Like, that was the goal. It wasn't necessarily for it to become the bestseller that it's become and to start
You're becoming the
necessarily.
lion as well to finish that book.
Exactly. Yeah. So that like, that like took on a new journey. I didn't realize that once you got it out there, I could then apply negotiation
Yeah.
to how do you get your book out there. And then that
Mm.
started to take on a new life in itself. And then the actual goal of it helping people came to the world, which was great.
Yeah.
So it was like, again, it opened my eyes to, if you actually do what you say you're going to do, put it out there and figure it out. Like, how do you get an editor? How do you get a publisher? How do you break down these problems? And how do you rewrite a book when you think that you've made it the best it can be, and someone goes, no, it needs to be better. Like, you need to do it again. And you're like, I can't. And then you figure that out. So
wow, that's amazing. Have you thought about doing like online courses on negotiations, have like role plays and where we watch you
yeah,
do it? Yeah, that
absolutely.
would be amazing if you can do that, you know? Like I love watching like online videos of people just on the phone cold calling and seeing how they, you know, talk to prospects and you know how sell on the phone.
Absolutely.
That stuff is amazing. So yeah, hopefully you know, if we get to see you do some of that stuff. So sign
That
up to
could be
your
the
course.
next
Yeah.
step for
The
sure.
next step, yeah.
That's 2020. Yeah.
2020.